Hello, 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 Love Revolution beloveds. I am here with a new friend. Bill and I met recently a couple of weeks ago, and everything that this man is doing is so intriguing and a little bit like Love Revolution. It's not all in one niche, but it's also impacting truly the world. And so, Bill, welcome, welcome, welcome to Love Revolution.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to experience the love revolution.
Yay! Yay, yay, yay. So we're all about love. And I love your tagline, financial advice for perfectly imperfect families. And, in terms of debt-free degree, that's who I'm working with, are perfectly imperfect families. But I never thought of it exactly that way. Can you talk a little bit about your tagline and really how you infuse that aspect of your business with love?
So, when you meet someone, you go in with an open heart and open mind and no judgment. So, no matter where they are in life, it's a starting point. So, either you get them to where their head is above water, or you teach people about the importance of savings and the importance of retiring with a tax-free savings plan. But in the end, because there's no judgment, people feel comfortable and welcomed to have a difference made. Because in most times, when you're dealing with an advisor or an expert in finances, they want those families that are earning $200,000 and above annually. And
Mm.
most of the folk put on the pants like you and I, one leg at a time, and they're not making that. And so you can do a lot with a little because it's not how much you save, it's where you save it.
Mm, mm, mm. I love that. And I love that little glint in your eye. So can you talk a little bit more about it's the where? And also, I think it's the timing.
Yes. So a lot of times when you meet with people, they're almost embarrassed or ashamed because they haven't started yet.
Hmm.
I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60, and I haven't created a nest egg. And nowadays, retirement doesn't mean retirement. Retirement means that you are trading your time for something that gives you pleasure. So if your job gives you pleasure, the mindset is that you're not trading that hours for dollars. You're trading your happiness, okay, to do things for
Mm.
others, right? So that mindset is what's really important. And to expand on that, I would say this, that when people save, the key element is that they save a percentage. 10% is okay, 15% is better, and 20% is excellent, right? So the foreign countries, they save 20% no matter what they earn because it's in doctrine. But in the US, we're not a saving culture.
Mm.
We live for the moment. And to learn how to save or to put 20% aside from everything you bring in is really the key. And if you could take that and put it into something that grows income tax free, it means you get to keep what you earn, and the government legally, the government can't touch it. And I'm not talking about a Roth because that's not the choice. That's 1971 thinking.
Okay, okay, okay. There we go. There we go. I love, love, love the 80/20 rule. And so that's what you were just talking about. But
Hmm.
also you were just talking about it really in terms of time, because I love your definition of retirement. And our time, we're constantly trading our time for dollars or our time for something. And one of the things I talk about in Debt Free Degree is we each have 168 hours a week that we're each given, and how are we spending that? And for students who say, there's just no way I can work full time. I'm not saying that every student has to work full time, but I will point out to them 40 hours a week is 24% of your week. You still have 76% of your week. And there are, lots of different ways to put together a debt-free degree that's loving to yourself so that when you graduate, you're not paying off student loans, you're able to invest with folks like you.
Yes, it's so I don't know if you know this, you might know this, but the audience might not. But the difference in starting savings in your 20s and in your 30s for retirement, okay,
Yeah.
it could be as much as $700,000. And I'm not talking about big money. I'm talking about putting away at age 21, $250 a month, a
Hmm.
month. So if you do the math, if you do
Mhm.
the reverse of that, that's like $85 a week.
Mhm.
Okay, setting aside. I know, or if it's in the, if you could set aside 60 to $85 a week for a long period of time, you don't even have to change the percentages if you started your 20s to retire with a $500,000 to $1 million. And even though your earning potential is greater, you still have that nest egg, even if you're in a job that pays you $40,000 a year, right? Which
Mhm.
isn't, that's not a great number.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
from that number, if you're able to set aside 60 to $85 a week, it makes a huge difference because you're doing it for 40 years.
Mhm.
And that compounded interest really adds up.
About to say that compound interest. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. Do you have an idea? This might be a more complex question for a different day. Do you have an idea why we in the US are so just we're just is the word averse? We're just resistant to saving, that we are just so I want it now, I want it now. That is also what's underlying, I believe, the student loan crisis is I want it now, I want it now. I have this really good friend of mine that she and I've known each other for 25 years. And so I've been passionate about debt free degree long before I started my business. So I started my business in 2019, but my parents said, you are going to go to college and we do not go into debt for education. So when I met this person, I was talking to them then about, let's try to figure out ways to earn a debt free degree. And she was like, no, no, no. She's a teacher. She has six-figure debt as a teacher, and she hasn't even, I mean, that's just her bachelor's. So then I find out about a month ago that her husband is now also in school, and he's getting student loans. Now all this, and now we've been friends, like really good friends. I've written a book, I've got all this stuff. I mean, and I keep thinking, what is it going to take? What do you think it's going to take, Bill, to get our culture to save and to not be, I want it now.
I think it's a mindset shift because you have to choose between a degree and a house. I mean, that's the choice, right?
Wow, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So if you choose a degree, there's ways to do it where you might have to sacrifice fun. One way to do it is to go to a county or a community college for the first 2 years and still work part-time and only take courses not to get a bachelor's or an associate's degree for a bachelor's, but to only take courses that are going to transfer to your end university. So
Mhm.
they matriculate over, you don't have to retake them. And what you're sacrificing, if you want to call it a sacrifice, is the dorm living experience and
Mhm.
the college football games and basketball games. But what you're creating for yourself is an environment where you're still at home, you're not getting into trouble,
Mhm.
and you're saving, and then the money that you are saving from living at home, you can put towards your third and fourth years at school when you actually go to that college
Yeah.
and not do that. Now, one way to do that is to save to create a college savings plan, not called a 529. There
Mm.
is a better alternative that has a lot more usage. So when a child is born, instead of giving them 16 blankets and 42 pairs of shoes that they don't wear in the
Yes.
first 6 months, take
Yes.
that money, create an account, okay, and it's called an IUL. An IUL grows tax free, but it has to be done through a professional. And what do I mean by that? If it's a really, really high death benefit, it doesn't benefit anyone but the person selling you. If it's a really low death benefit, then you create a cash-free accumulation. And now
Mm.
what's happening is for the next 18 to 20 years, if they go to the community college, you're contributing a monthly amount and any birthday gifts into that. And they could accumulate as much as 60 to $80,000 if it's done correctly for college. And then you take that 60 to $80,000 and you apply it to years 3 and 4, and you make sure that you do the aptitude
Beautiful.
test, right? And you make sure that the person's personality matches their degree choice.
Mhm.
And you make sure that you put them in situations where they could talk to professionals in there so that they know that they're choosing the right thing, right?
Beautiful.
Now, when you have that savings of 60 to $80,000, even if tuition is 40,000 or 50,000, you got a whole year there, right?
Right.
And the balance, and you might come out of college in debt $20,000. Well, that's a lot different
Hmm.
than 100,000 or 100,
That's right.
because you could knock out that debt literally in 3 years.
Yeah.
And if you get the proper type, you could take balance transfers off. In other words, you can get a 0% uh, credit card and take that in and pull $6,000 off of that loan and lower that loan immediately, and then use 12 months to pay that $6,000 off. Then find another credit card that'll take it off. And in 3 years, because now you're eliminating the interest payments, you're just attacking the meat of the
Beautiful.
problem,
Beautiful.
right? So there's solutions right there that work.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I love the way that your brain works. I love the way that you see the big picture, but you see all the steps. And also, I love the way that you so beautifully and succinctly and deeply explain that concept. So somehow, some way, we've got to get you out there. We've got to get me out there somehow, so that folks can stop, making somebody else rich off of these student loans.
It's not worth it because the housing crisis that we are in is a direct result of the student loan debt. And so people don't have the savings to put down 20% on a house, A. B, they could accumulate that savings if they're debt free from college rather easily, because then they're used to paying, saving 500 a month or 1,000 a month when they have a real job. And if they could live with mom and dad and sacrifice their freedom for the first 2 years after they graduate, they could set aside money, or the parents can charge them fake rent, which they charge them $500 a month, and then they give it to them at the end when they leave to
Mhm.
put towards the down payment and not let them know that they're in on the secret, right? And then do
Yeah,
the right thing so they could
right.
really help the individual get their starter home, have a nice down payment, and don't think instantly that you have to have a fully furnished, beautiful house for your first home. Get a knock-up home where it's okay and it's safe and it's livable and the environment's safe, but it doesn't have to be picture perfect. It just has to be a starter set, and think of it of living there for just 5 years, right?
Mhm.
Build some equity up in the home. The equity you have in the home then can be transferred as the down payment on your next property.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful,
Ten,
beautiful, beautiful. You're
yep.
amazing. You are so amazing. For folks that want to get in touch with you, as they see your QR code, is that the best way?
Yeah, that's the best way. My cell phone is on there. It is active. It is a real cell phone. Love meeting people because what I say to people is I help successful people become more successful,
Mm,
right?
love it.
And and successful is a mindset, right? So
Yeah.
you could be successful but not yet have the lifestyles of the rich and famous. You also could be successful in business, in personal development, in helping others. It's not always associated with accumulation and wealth.
Right, 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 right. You are a success, my friend. And thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your success, your love, your expertise with us today. Appreciate you.
Well, you're a blessing as well, and anybody that knows you loves you. So it's a
Mm.
perfect match for you and I to do things together.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Love Revolution, beloveds. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, I appreciate y'all and join the mission. 8 billion people loving 8 billion people, one heart at a time. Thanks, y'all.